So why did you bring your mother, Anna, at our place without even asking me about it?
Because if she continues to live at that house, my mom would have no place for her and she would just suffocate.
How long are you planning to have Anna stay here at our place?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe until everything calms down, I guess.
I wanted to question my husband, Sam, further about what he meant when he said that. But more than that, I was just disappointed by how my husband was really overprotective about his own mother, or rather, how he acted like a mama's boy. My name is Tia, and I am 30 years old, working in a company. I married my husband, Sam, and it has been 3 years now since we got married. My husband and I do not have any kids yet at the moment, and both of us are working. I am better at doing most of the house chores than my husband, so I basically do all the cleaning and cooking around the house. But when there were days where I had to work overtime and had to work really late, my husband will cook very simple meals for me, and on weekends he would clean the shower, bath, and toilet. So I believe that we have a reasonably well-balanced life as a married couple. But recently, there has been a slight change in our everyday life. That is that my husband has been visiting his parents' place a lot more frequently than before. The reason for this is probably due to my husband's father, who had passed away about 6 months ago. My father-in-law, Jack, and my mother-in-law, Anna, used to live together in their house. But when Jack passed away and Anna was left all alone, my husband's brother, Cameron, and his wife, Susan, began living with Anna. But unfortunately, ever since they started living together, it seems that Anna, Cameron, and Susan are not getting along very well. So, my husband has been visiting over, going to their place to be their mediator, and standing in between them as they fight with each other frequently. At first, I think that both Cameron and Susan were doing reasonably well living together with Anna. Anna was really depressed at the time when Jack suddenly passed away and left her, and she definitely needed someone's support right away. Even I took some time out of my work schedule to visit Anna at her house to support her for a little while. But thanks to the efforts made by Cameron and Susan, Anna had gradually regained her health and became more positive. And I remember that we were all saying to each other how relieved we all were because of that. So, when Anna got much better, an unexpected incident struck Cameron and Susan. The incident involved Cameron and Susan's daughter, Sarah, who was a grandchild for Anna. Anna, who had regained her energy and health, began to strictly educate Cameron and Susan's daughter for some reason. Cameron and Susan's daughter was only 3 years old, but Anna keeps on strictly telling her things like, "You don't know how to hold a spoon properly," or yelling, "You better eat all the vegetables," to Sarah. And if she didn't finish her meal completely, Anna would have Sarah continue to sit by the table and not allow her to do anything else, and just educated her very strictly in a really old-fashioned way. Susan, on the other hand, wanted to let her own daughter have as much freedom as possible, which was her own way of raising her daughter. So, she wanted to follow a policy of not being too strict on her daughter. But Anna is so strict and educating Sarah in a strict way that Susan is struggling to stop her every time she tries to be strict to Sarah. Cameron also agrees with Susan's way of raising their own child and has been warning Anna about how strict she was, but unfortunately, Anna does not listen to him at all and is doing whatever she wants. But Since Cameron comes home late at night after work, Susan had to try and stop Anna's outrageous outbursts all by herself during the day and during dinner time. After that, both Cameron and Susan discussed the issue to Anna and made a promise that they would do their house chores separately. And since then, for a while, Anna did not really interfere with the married couple or their daughter. But since they did not live separately as they were living in the same house, Anna gradually began to break her promise and began over-interfering as usual, and everything had gone back to how it was in the beginning. Anna also began to act so selfishly that it was appalling to hear her throw away Susan's clothes without any permission just because the clothes looked old. Or also threw away Sarah's favorite clothes, saying, "This doesn't look good on her." And then one day, an incident occurred. While Susan was shopping at the supermarket for groceries, Anna and Sarah were left alone for about 20 minutes. At this point, Sarah was now 4 years old, and she was playing in the living room, and Anna was there, so Susan let her guard down, thinking that everything would be fine while she went to the supermarket. Then, when Susan came home from shopping, she saw something that was surprising and unexpected. Anna was cutting Sarah's hair very short. To this, Susan was screaming at Anna, asking her, "What are you doing?" and immediately began questioning Anna. Then Anna replied, "A child this age plays outside more often, don't you think? And all the girl's hair grows long very quickly, so you might as well cut it short," and said this as if she had done the right thing. Sarah looked as if she was about to cry as her hair was being cut really short. After that, Cameron came back home, and finding out about what had happened, Cameron and Anna had the biggest argument ever, and that is where my husband comes in, as he is being the mediator between the two of them lately. But what I think personally is that as long as there is already a huge gap between Cameron and Anna, there seems to be no room for improvement, even if my husband intervenes. Besides, no matter how much I listen to what had happened in a logical way, the cause is entirely Anna's fault. And yet, Anna does not seem to think that it is all her fault at all. So, I think that's another reason why Anna is having conflicts and arguments with Cameron and Susan. I said to my husband, "If you are going to hold the line between Anna and Cameron, I think you need to make sure that Anna is aware of what is wrong." But to this, he replied saying, "No, it's not my mom's fault. She's doing the right thing." And my husband was completely on Anna's side and agreeing with what she had done. Hearing what Sam had to say, I really questioned if he was the right mediator for Anna, Cameron, and Susan. I contacted Susan because I was concerned about whether Sam was functioning properly as a mediator, although there were days when he made frequent trips to their house and even stayed overnight. Then to this, Susan replied, "To be honest, the gap between us got even more worse since Sam got involved here." Oh, I knew it. According to Susan's story, my husband kept saying to Cameron, "You should understand Mom's point of view," and said things which was defending Anna, and to that, Anna would take advantage of what Sam was saying and say even more terrible things or act even more terrible towards Cameron and Susan. Since then, Cameron got tired of Anna and Sam and is completely unwilling to deal with them, and now Cameron and Susan is making preparations to leave the house. Hearing this story, I apologized to Susan about my husband. To that, Susan said, "Well, this would have happened sooner or later. and did not blame my husband for making things worse, even though it was his fault. That night, I arrived home after work and waited for my husband to come home so that I could teach him a lesson for what he had done. But then, Sam did something in which I had never imagined him to do.
I'm home.
Welcome home. I need to talk to you about something.
Oh, yeah, me too. It'll finish quick, though. Mother!
Huh? My husband had brought Anna into this house. Well, long time no see, Tia. Hello. I immediately grabbed my husband by the neck and questioned him as I whispered into his ears. What is the meaning of this, Sam? So why did you bring your mother, Anna, at our place without even asking me about it?
Because if she continues to live at that house, my mom would have no place for her and she would just suffocate.
How long are you planning to have Anna stay here at our place?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe until everything calms down, I guess.
I wanted to question my husband, Sam, further about what he meant when he said that. But more than that, I was just disappointed by how my husband was really overprotective about his own mother, or rather, how he acted like a mama's boy. When I was visiting Anna's house frequently, I didn't really notice it. But hearing Susan's stories and witnessing this kind of behavior made it clear to me that my husband is a mama's boy. But just because he's a mama's boy does not mean that he should have brought home Anna without even telling me anything about it. I decided that I needed to have a proper discussion with my husband, so I told him that we would discuss it further after our work the next day, and that we'd discuss this somewhere outside where Anna was not there. I even sent him the address of a coffee shop during my lunch break and told him to meet me after work. But my husband did not show up even after waiting for him about an hour. I even sent a text message to him, but he did not respond at all. So I had no choice but to go home. And when I went back home, my husband was at home already, happily eating dinner with his mother.
Oh, welcome home, Tia. My mom made some fried chicken and pasta tonight. They're really delicious, so you should hurry up and eat too, Tia.
I couldn't stop being irritated and frustrated at Sam. Then, while Anna was gone to the bathroom, I quickly began questioning my husband. We promised that we'd discuss about your mother today, right? So why didn't you come to the coffee shop?
Well, because my mom said that she was going to make fried chicken and pasta today. Besides, there's nothing much to discuss about my mother, is there?
Ha! There is so much to talk about. Like about what had happened to Cameron and Susan, and how long you're going to have Anna here. There was so much that I wanted to say to Sam, but the discussion was interrupted since Anna had returned back to her seat from the bathroom. And a few days later, when I tried to discuss it with my husband, he brushed it off, and it seemed like Anna would not be leaving either anytime soon. I was getting really irritated and frustrated by this point that I could no longer concentrate on my work or focus on my house chores, so I took a paid leave from work for one day. I felt restless at home, so I went shopping for the first time in a while, went to a coffee shop which I had been wanting to visit, and relaxed as much as I could. I went out in the morning and came home around 2 p.m. and no one was home and it was too early to cook dinner, so I began to lay down on the living room couch and watched the TV. Then suddenly, the doorbell rang. I wondered who it was, and when I opened the door, I saw the delivery man. And there were several huge cardboard boxes next to him. I thought that this was strange since neither my husband or I ordered anything that huge, So I looked at the invoice and saw that they were all addressed to Anna, and that the sender was my husband. And this was when I finally realized what was happening. My husband was going to completely take Anna in with him and live with her here. Once I began to think that and connect the dots, I felt all these affectionate feelings I had for my husband disappear. I had been trying to think of a way to make everyone happy, Anna, Sam, and Cameron, and Susan, but I had realized that there was no way that everyone can be happy. And I also learned how selfish and irredeemable my husband is, and how hopeless the situation was. That day, my husband was still hanging around and being with Anna most of the time, and came home after having dinner with her. Then, the next day, when I saw him at the dinner table, my husband said,
Oh, by the way, my mom's packages will be arriving around today, so please take care of it.
To this, I replied back saying, Oh, those packages. I sent them back. And my husband replied angrily saying,
What? Why? What are you doing?
And he sounded really furious. I was just too tired to even fight Sam, so I simply said, I just don't approve of Anna living together in this house. And to that, my husband snapped.
You've got to be kidding. If that's the case, then you better get out of here.
Saying really stupid things. I've already had enough and I didn't want to deal with my husband, so I said, Well, I'm going back to my parents' house for today, and went to work. My husband came out from the living room and said,
Don't you ever come home again.
Which didn't make any sense at all, but I ignored it. I really couldn't care less anymore about Sam and didn't even want to talk to him anymore. That day, I went back to my parents' house after work. I spent the next few days relaxing at my parents' house and at the same time making certain preparations. During that time, I received several phone calls and messages from my husband, but all he said was apologize to my mother and I, and other selfish, stupid things, so I ignored all of the text messages and blocked his calls. Then, when everything was ready, I went home for the first time in a long time. Seeing me back home, my husband said,
Oh, so you came back because you're sorry.
And grinned at me while he said this. Yes, I'm sorry.
Well then, I forgive you.
It was annoying to see my husband's idiotic, triumphant look on his face. Oh, please, don't get me wrong. What I was saying sorry for is that I was regretting my mistake of marrying a stupid person like you.
What?
I can't keep on doing this with you anymore, so let's just get a divorce. And saying that, I handed him the divorce papers.
Divorce? Are you being serious?
My husband was surprised, but when he realized that I was being dead serious, he said,
Fine. Have it your way. I'll divorce you.
And signed the divorce papers.
Get all your stuff together and get the hell out of here.
I couldn't really believe he was still saying these things like that. So, I showed my husband a document, as he was misunderstanding a lot.
What the hell is this?
It's the contract for this room. Oh, Sam, did you even forget that my parents are the ones who own this apartment room? Then I saw my husband's face turn completely pale. So, you and Anna should be the ones to leave this place, okay? I've decided to lend this room to another person, so you have until the end of the month to get out of here, okay?
Hey, wait a minute. Let's just discuss this properly.
Excuse me? What the hell are you saying? You're the one who's been refusing to discuss about everything I've been trying to discuss with you about all along, weren't you?
Yes, that's right, but...
finally, at this point, it seems that my husband understood the importance of the situation. Anyways, just pack up your stuff and go back to Anna's house with her, okay?
No, I can't. Actually,
According to my husband's story, Anna's house had already been put up for sale. Cameron and Susan had already moved out of the house, so my husband and Anna came to the stupid conclusion that since Cameron and Susan left, Sam and Anna would just sell the house and use that money for Anna's retirement funds and live here instead. Hearing what had happened, I was just too stunned and speechless about how stupid Sam and Anna was being. Anywho, just get out quickly, okay? If you both won't leave, I'll call the police on you. My husband had a look of despair on his face, and he looked really hopeless. I ignored him and just packed my bags and left the house. After that, I heard that Anna and Sam had rented a reasonably priced apartment for them to live in together. But my ex-husband's salary alone did not allow the two of them to live in such a nice room, and the room was much downgraded from the one they had been living in. So Anna constantly complained about it to him, and because of that, my ex-husband was always irritated and frustrated. As for Cameron and Susan, they took this opportunity to move to the countryside, and they are now living comfortably in a place which is really rich in nature. And as for me, I am enjoying the life all on my own in an apartment for a single person. Recently, I also began to have a cat as my pet, and now I enjoy playing and hanging around with the cat at home every day after work, which helps me relax my mind too. Because of what had happened, I don't want to be in love for a while now, so I'm going to enjoy my life with the cat to the fullest. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video. Hey, what the hell is up with you? You're always at home, relaxing around, doing nothing. And all you do is eat and sleep every single day. I am not working here just so I can feed you and take care of you. If you're not even going to do any house chores, then start finding a job. Then my husband, Nick, began to get really upset once again.
shut the hell up. If you insist that much, I'll leave you in this home for good. Once I'm gone, you'll know how I was important to you, and you better learn to be thankful of me.
With saying just that, my husband packed up his belongings and left. My name is Mary, and I am 32 years old, working in a company. I had been a workaholic all my life, and I loved doing my job and working really hard for the company. Seeing me like this, a friend of mine got worried that my work was my love, so she arranged a blind date for me to go to, and that's where I met Nick. At that time, Nick seemed to work at a nursing home and had a nice smile, good looking, and was very kind to me. From the blind date, we hit it off and began to go out. Nick would understand my busy working schedules and how busy I was at work. Even when I worked late and couldn't see him for a few days, he would never give me a look which would say that he hated that part about me. Instead, he would ask me, "Are you eating something nutritious for your health?" and worries about me. All the male colleagues in the company where I work at are all eager to get promoted, so no one worries about me like how Nick does. In fact, most of my male colleagues sees me as their rival and even thinks that if I faint or something, they will have one less rival to beat. This was one of the reasons why I was really moved by Nick's kindness, as he was really different to the guys I knew from work. Nick would cook for me at home and wait for me when I was busy, and he even made lunch for me on mornings when he slept over. Since Nick has been living on his own for a long time, he could do all the house chores really well. I was beginning to think that I might be able to build a happy family with such a kind and wonderful man like Nick. And then, Nick proposed to me. I immediately accepted his proposal, and we got married. Many of the people at work congratulated me, but I think most of the male colleagues were also surprised.
That workaholic Mary is getting married? I thought that she'd end up being single for the rest of her life.
Many of my colleagues would say such mean things about me. But at any rate, I found my happiness. We held a wedding ceremony, went on our honeymoon, and started our newly wedded life together. My newly wedded life with my husband was a lot of fun. My husband really took care of me and did the house chores mainly. Of course, I also did some house chores on weekends and days where I could, but I was still as busy on weekdays, so it was helpful that my husband took the initiative to do the house chores mainly. Nick, everything you cook is really delicious.
Right? I've been working part-time in the kitchen at a restaurant all my life, you know. Look, I made some quick snacks, which goes really well with beer, so eat up.
Yay! Thank you. I love to drink, so I really love the food my husband made. He made a lot of easy, quick snacks that went well with alcohol, so I think I drank quite a bit when we were together. I have always been devoted to my work, but I am so lucky to have met such a wonderful, caring person. I thought that I would be able to spend happy days like this with my husband from now on. But it was about a year after we got married that things began to get a little bit strange. Nick, I did it! I finally got a promotion.
Oh, wow. That's great. Well then, we're definitely celebrating today. Let's have some delicious steaks and drink some good wine.
That sounds amazing! Yay! I love steak. My husband was very happy about my promotion. From what I had heard around me and on the internet, I had heard that some husbands cannot be honestly happy when their wives get promoted first, perhaps out of pride. But my husband was not like that. He was really happy for me. That's what I thought, and I really thought that he was a nice person at the time. But...
I'm thinking of becoming a full-time house husband.
Huh?
Well, if you will get a promotion, you will become even more busier than now, Mary. So, then, I think it would be better for me to do all the house chores and support you back at home.
But I've been working overtime under the company's regulations all this time, so the times that I'll work for the company won't change even after the promotion that much. So, I'll be busy, but it'll be the same busy schedules that I've been having this whole time.
Oh, is that so? But even so, you'll have more responsibilities once you get promoted, and won't it be easier mentally if you don't have to do any house chores at all?
Oh, Well, you're right about that.
Right? So, from now on, I'll quit my job and be at home to support you, Mary.
Since my husband suggested so strongly, I agreed to his idea. Indeed, my husband was right, as my responsibilities at work would increase from now on, so there could be possibilities where I might forget or I'd be too tired to do any of the house chores. If that is the case, since my husband is going to stay at home, I may as well rely on him to do all the house chores. And nowadays, it is not at all unusual for husbands to become house husbands anyways. So, it was decided that I would work and he would stay at home taking care of all the house chores. And this plan was a great success. I was freed from the role of doing any house chores and was able to focus more on my work than before. My husband quit his job and was able to focus solely on house chores, allowing him to spend more time to cook, clean, and running errands for the house. Whoa! The room is really clean.
Right? I've cleaned up literally every little details of the rooms compared to before.
And the meal that you made is so good. This beef and this beef stew is so tender and delicious.
Well, now that I have more time, honey, I can definitely take the time to cook difficult menus, which would take some time. We'll be able to eat a lot more of this kind of meals from now on.
Yay! I feel like I'm at a little restaurant every day.
No, it won't be like that. I'll even cook some Italian or Chinese meals depending on the week.
That's amazing. I'm looking forward to it, honey. Since then, my husband served me all kinds of tasty home-cooked meals. Even when I came home tired from work, my husband's cooking, as well as beer, made me feel instantly relaxed. I was having the time of my life, living with Nick. And then one day, I came home from work to find that nothing had been prepared for me to eat. There was no sign of my husband in the living room, too. I thought, what's going on? And I went to Nick's room and found him sleeping on the bed. Oh, was he really tired? My husband was sleeping with his face down on top of the duvet, as if he had just dived into the bed. I don't know how long Nick had been asleep for, but sleeping like this, he could catch a cold. I gently tapped my husband to wake him up.
Oh, what time is it?
It's already 9, honey.
Oh, no, really? I'm really sorry. I forgot to cook.
It's okay. Honey, you were tired too, weren't you? You haven't eaten yet, right? Why don't we just order today? How about pizza?
Yeah, sure. I'm really sorry.
I didn't mind Nick being like that at all, because it's only normal to have days like that sometimes. I was rather grateful that he had been so good to me all this time. That day, we both had beer and enjoyed the pizza. But a few days later, the same thing had happened. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but a little while later, the same thing happened once again. And sometimes, the morning dishes were left untouched. And I felt that Nick wasn't doing much of the house chores bit by bit in general, compared to before. The laundry was piled up, the floors were dirty, and I wondered if Nick had even vacuumed around the rooms. When I came home, my husband was often asleep on the sofa or on the bed. He used to cook delicious meals for me, but the other day I saw a lot of empty boxes of prepared foods from the supermarket. Well, I am grateful that he still prepares them for me, but recently he has been cooking less and less and asks me, "Can we order something?" as if it was normal to do that now. Even though he suggests to order food, I think to myself that all the delivery fee is going to be paid all by myself. I thought that this was something I could not overlook anymore and talked to my husband about this. Hey, aren't you slacking off a little too much about the house chores? Then my husband started to get upset.
What the? I'm doing my best here. Being a house husband is not easy, you know. Don't you dare underestimate me just because I'm the house husband.
I'm not underestimating you. It's just that you used to do everything around the house, but lately I feel like you're not doing them at all.
I do get tired sometimes too, so give me a break.
No, I know that, but I'm only just saying that he's slacking off too much because it's the truth. But my husband wouldn't try to discuss about it with me at all. I finally gave up talking to him and just had to put up with it. After that, my husband still continued to not do the house chores. Or rather, I guess he started to think that he could ignore house chores without any hesitation because I didn't warn him about it so strictly after that. My husband literally became an unemployed scumbag who wouldn't do anything around the house, always sleeping around when I came home. He just really sleeps all the time, non-stop. What the hell was he even doing during the day? At this rate, I guess he's just being lazy and not doing anything during the daytime too. The morning dishes were left untouched, and eventually I would buy lunch or cook a simple meal when I got home from work. My husband would eat what I cooked or bought without even thanking me, and then lie down on the couch or bed after that and sleep away. His day literally consisted of eating and sleeping. This is nowhere near what a house husband would do. All these frustrations I had gradually built up day by day. Then one day, I had a little trouble at work and I wasn't feeling my best. And when I returned home, my husband was just relaxing around in the living room, laying on the sofa. When he noticed that I had come home, he asked,
Where's the food?
At that moment, I exploded with all the frustration I had been feeling from work and all this time. Hey, what the hell is up with you? You're always at home, relaxing around, doing nothing. And all you do is eat and sleep every single day. I'm not working here just so I can feed you and take care of you. If you're not even going to do any house chores, then start finding a job. Then my husband Nick began to get really upset once again.
Huh? Who the hell do you think you are, Mary? I'm the one who has been supporting the house and family all this time, and you don't even have any tiny ounce of gratefulness towards me.
I have been grateful towards you up until now. Lately, I have been doing all the house chores and work and trying to balance them. But all you do is just sit around and do nothing.
Shut the hell up! If you insist that much, I'll leave you in this home for good. Once I'm gone, you'll know how I was important to you, and you better learn to be thankful of me.
With saying just that, my husband packed up his belongings and left. Why has my husband changed so drastically like this? Will I ever be able to fill up this gap that I have between my husband and I? As I was worrying like this all night, the next morning I came down with a high fever. As expected, it was too difficult for me to go to work, so I took the day off and went to the hospital in the morning. I ate some yogurt and took the medicine which the doctor gave me. Then, the fever went down a bit and I felt better, so I laid down on the sofa and watched the TV while relaxing. Then suddenly, the doorbell rang. Who could it be? Was it my husband? Had he forgotten his keys? But when I saw through the peephole to check who it was just in case, I was surprised. It was a young woman whom I've never seen before. From the way she was dressed, she wasn't a person from the post office or a courier. Could it be? I quickly set the camera app on my phone to record a video and answered through the peephole, trying my best to keep my voice low.
Oh, hey, what's going on?
I tried to say it in a manly tone, and hearing this, the woman said, I came to see you. So I said,
I see, all right,
and opened the door.
Come on in.
I opened the door saying that as I held my phone and waited for the woman to come into the room. Then, the woman came in saying, Oh, Nikki, how I missed you. And then, I asked her this. Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? I am Nick's wife. Excuse me? Then, the person who answered the doorbell earlier wasn't Nick, but... I changed my voice and answered it, of course. Are you having an affair with Nick? The woman began to panic and said, No, I mean... Hey, turn off that camera. No, I won't turn it off. And if you won't reveal yourself, I'm going to have to call the investigators to investigate about you. After I said all this, the woman gave up and told me everything. She told me that she was a mother who lived around in the neighborhood, and that she and Nick had met at the supermarket, became friends, and then began having an affair. I'll never forgive him. My husband was having an affair while I was working really hard. He was playing around with another woman with my hard-earned money. I am sure that he was ignoring the house chores because he was busy having an affair during the day. I immediately decided to leave this house. Originally, I had rented the room under my name because my income was higher than Nick's even when we were both working. So, I could also terminate the lease whenever I wanted to. I sent all of my husband's belongings to his parents' house and terminated the lease for the room. In the meantime, I rented a room in a new apartment and moved out. Soon after that, my husband contacted me.
Hey, why are you sending all my stuff to my parents' house without any permission?
Because you did leave our home, didn't you?
Well, this is only temporary.
No, it's not. You've left for good. So, I want a divorce.
Huh? Divorce? Wait a minute. Just because of this, the divorce is the wrong answer.
Well, no, it isn't, and there's more to this, you know? Because I know that you were having an affair.
What?
Your mistress thought that you were at our house the other day, so she came over for a little visit. The housewife, who said that she met you at the supermarket.
Oh, no. Oh, I was seduced by her.
Don't give me any excuses. I'll make sure that you pay me alimony.
No way.
When I called him at that time, I heard a woman's voice over the phone. Could it be that woman he was having an affair with at the time? No, but there was no way that Nick would stay over at that person's house. I mean, she's a mom, and she must be living with her husband. Could it be another woman? I decided to investigate with the investigator just to make sure. A month later, I received the results of the investigation and was just dumbfounded by it. My husband was having affairs with 4 different women, and all of them were married. So I immediately sent content-certified mails to each of the mistresses' homes. As a result, my husband was sued by all of the other husbands for alimony. Then, my husband called me once again.
Mary, how dare you do that to me? Because of what you did, I have to pay a lot more now.
What the hell? You had it coming. You've been shaking your hips like a rabbit every single day, and by the time I get home, you're so tired that you're always asleep. If you want to live your life like that, then go ahead. But just don't be an asshole, and don't ever break the rules that we have in our society like how you did this time. Alimony is the price for breaking these rules. Just be quiet and pay it up, you asshole. My husband sounded frightened, as if he didn't expect me to yell so much to him. I hung up the phone, blocked all incoming calls from Nick, and left the rest to my lawyer. The divorce was finalized smoothly, and I filed a claim for alimony against my ex-husband and all the women with whom he was having affairs with. But since my ex-husband did not have the financial ability to pay all of the alimonies, his parents decided to pay them for him instead. Nick's parents were very angry with my ex-husband because of this incident, and now they are monitoring him every day, making him work from morning till night and using all of his income to pay back the amount they had lent him. Well, it's a natural process, so I have no sympathy for Nick whatsoever. Meanwhile, I continued to work as hard as ever and got promoted to a higher rank. Since I can live completely on my own now, I think I will take it easy on my love life without forcing myself to get married. Having an affair with 4 different women while being supported by his wife? How much of a scumbag is this man? To be honest, I really think Nick should have experienced much more for what he had done. But I am glad that Mary got her alimony. I hope Mary can find her true love and happiness with a decent man in the future. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video.